Welcome to Fathers Unfiltered. This is a podcast that allows separated fathers to tell their story. We've got today's guest. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us your name, age.
I'm Lewis. I'm 34, be 35 on the 24th. I'm from Sheffield. I think that's it. That's all you asked, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
Mine's gone already.
How many kids you got?
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah, just one.
How old?
She's 6.
Okay. So, how long have you been separated from the kid's mum?
I'm it's probably about a year and a half, I think now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was February. It'll be about a year and a half. It was in February and we split up just after her birthday.
And how long were you together?
7 years.
Okay. So it's not exactly a short time.
No, it did go pretty quick as it does. Time does go pretty quick, but 7 years. So it weren't just a wham bam thank you ma'am sort of thing. I'll run it for the long term.
So, can you take us back to about 7 years ago, to the day you met? How did that look?
Oh God. So obviously ours is a bit different to probably most people's, but so we were in relationships, not obviously together, but I had a partner and she had a partner, and we met on a swinging site. I'm sure quite a few people might have been on it once or whatever, but yeah, so we met on a swinging site, and I was actually working in Derby at the time. And I think I saw her on her profile, messaged her, and then we just decided to obviously meet up after. I were obviously playing away from home, she were playing away from home, and I think we met up like after work or something one day, and then just hit it off from there, I suppose. And
is it played away from home if you're swinging? I don't know. I'm not too au fait with it.
My partner at the time and her partner at the time, they weren't swingers. So I'll hold my hands up and said that we're both playing away from home.
I gotta say, I can't imagine that really works in a relationship when one person's a swinger.
No, I don't know. Especially she doesn't know about it. But yeah.
Okay. So you started meeting up, and then I'm guessing, is it a relationship built over time outside of your current relationship, I'd say? So
her relationship, what I got from her on her half was that, there was just no connection there anymore and whatever. I think for both of us, our relationships at the time were both breaking down anyway. And, we just went on there to seek other people. I know you shouldn't do that and whatever, and it's not morally all right, but that's what happened. What did you say again, Chris? Because my head's fucking gone.
No, it's more trying to get... I was asking about... Was it just... I mean, you sort of alluded to it, that... was it cheating if you both swinging?
We're both definitely cheating, obviously, on us current partners. Like I say, I'll, never hide away from anything, do you know what I mean? I know what I were doing and she knows what she were doing.
Did your other partner know that you were swinging? Or your main partner, I should say.
The girl that I were at the time? No, she didn't know I was swinging around.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She were none the wiser.
Okay.
God, I want to fucking sound so bad, but she were at home and I used to work away like doing shop fitting and stuff at the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I used to meet other people and stuff off a swinging site and what have you. And
so I'm guessing, was it you started meeting her more regularly, or how did it develop over time with your kids?
Just started meeting up, like having sort of like casual sex, and then just sort of like got in, like, yeah. Well, in fact, we didn't actually do anything together for months and months, which were obviously is a bit weird on the swinging site. I know I could see your face and you're like, what? But yeah, so we didn't do anything for ages, and I think that's where like that connection came from. So like, hang on, I've met this person, and normally it's just meet up, do the deed, and bugger off again.
Abstaining from it, and you're building more the emotional connection.
Yeah. And we sort of like, we clicked. But I think, we just clicked, and because we weren't getting probably that attention from as partners at the time and stuff, and obviously things were a bit, weren't very good at home. You sort of seek it from, I suppose you sort of seek it from other people, don't you? And then, but yeah, we just started meeting up and stuff, and like that connection grew and that bond grew and stuff, and it just felt sort of right.
When did you get the transition from your current relationship to this new relationship? Like, when was what was the crossover like? When one ended and then
she started feeling like really sick going to bed with her current partner and stuff. Like, she knew it weren't right. We were obviously seeing each other, and I used to be on phone. I'd be working away at this time. I think I was working away, and I'd be on phone to her, and she'd be like, "Oh, he's fucking coming upstairs. I've got to get off at phone. Like, he's coming upstairs now. I'll see you in a bit or whatever." And I think that's when it started for her. Do you get what I mean? Like,
she was feeling more.
Yeah, and I was like, right, this is it's going further than just. I think it were always going further than just sex anyway, because we didn't have sex at the start. So I will correct myself. We didn't have to do anything at first. But I think that's when we started really getting feelings for each other, and we knew it were getting more serious, and we knew that probably time to separate from as partners and come clean. And
so, did you both separate from your partners at the same time? Was that a planned thing, or is it just how did that look?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think. Yeah, so I do remember getting a phone call off my.
I was gonna say, did your current partner eventually find out what was going on?
Yeah, because
I was gonna say, because
we had
they
a
might
little
know.
puppy at the time, and I'd got some knickers off her and took them away with me. And I'd got home on a weekend and put my bag in the spare room and whatever, and then I'd gone out and doing stuff or whatever, and then dog had got these knickers out of my bag and running around the house with them. And I just remember getting a phone call. I can't remember what exactly got said, but I know it were a lot of shouting and swearing, and
yeah,
I don't know why I'm laughing, because it's not funny.
No. Well,
it's probably quite embarrassing saying this openly, but it is what it is.
People do lots of things.
Well, and then obviously, then she were asking questions, and at that point, then I think I was just like, right, this. I was feeling guilty as well at the time, so I thought, I can't keep doing this, and I know she were feeling guilty on her partner and whatever, and yeah, I think we both said to each other, look, we'll break up with partners, and then we'll sort of like make a go at it from there.
Okay.
So
what was it? Now you've broken up with your partner or previous partner, you two have got together. What was it like, say, the first few months as a couple? I was gonna say, it's a bit of a transition.
Yeah, it did move like really, really, really fast. It felt natural, I'm not gonna lie, but within 3 months she was already pregnant. So straight away I was a bit like, well, we're both like, fuck, what do we do? Like, we need to get an house. We need to, what I mean? We need to start.
Was you trying, or was it just?
No,
okay.
It was just, yeah. Obviously, we all know how it happens, but yeah, it happened.
Okay.
None of us are naive, and but
what was the first thing that you thought when you found out you was going to be a dad?
I were happy about it.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, we're really like chuffed to bits, and yeah, I were proper. I never thought I'd a bit of a dick when I was younger. Quite a lot of it, but when never really went to school and stuff like that, and I always sort of. I'm probably going to say, like, I don't know if I were insecure or whatever, but I always just thought, if I cheat first, then it's not going to hurt when they cheat on me and stuff. And I had sort of this I don't know, like thinking back now, I had sort of this notion where, yeah, if I were always messing about, I were always cheating and playing away and being a bit of a knob.
Yeah.
So I never really thought I'd settle down and have kids and, you know, and have a family and whatever else. So to hear that news for me, it were a shock, but I were also like, fucking hell, like, I'm, you know.
So did all the swinging stop?
Yeah, so when we were like sort of dating or whatever, like seeing each other, we didn't swing, we didn't meet anybody else. We just, you know, it was just us two on his own. We didn't.
Yeah, just relationship.
Yeah, came off whatever websites and whatever else, and it was just us two doing us two, and you know, yeah, just us two on his own. We didn't start swinging again.
Was that after the little one was born, I'm guessing?
No, she were pregnant, but not like heavily pregnant. She just started showing and stuff. But she wanted me to play with other women and stuff. Like she wanted me to meet other women and stuff, and that's what sort of she got off on. And obviously as a bloke, you know, you sort of think, oh, your birthdays will come at once or whatever.
You're not going to say
and
no.
You're not going to say, yeah, that's it. So you're not going to say no. So that were like our initial sort of swinging bits. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
okay,
how we started swinging
yeah.
again. Because obviously she was pregnant, she didn't really want to do anything and stuff or whatever. And yeah, she just sort of pushing me out the door to go and do whatever.
So, what was it like in, I guess, the last few months run up before birth?
Everything was good. Everything was really, really good. We started renting a house. This little 2-bed terraced house. I stopped doing the shop fitting and I went to go and get a job on site doing building work, which were horrible. But you know, it's a means to an end, and it was like a stable wage and stuff. And
you're local as well.
Yeah,
you'd be around.
I was travelling over an hour to get to work and an hour and a half back every night. But yeah, I needed to get a job and stuff. And yeah, I forgot where we're going to Chris again because I keep thinking about everything. It's been a long time. Do you know when you think back and you think, Jesus Christ, that like...
Yeah, it's like another life.
Yeah. I'm thinking back now because bear in mind, guys, just going back to the camera, I've not spoke about this or openly... I've genuinely not openly talked about any of this since it all happened and stuff. I've genuinely not sat down with anyone and...
I know, I mean, this is sort of story aside. I've seen your persona online and yeah, I think there's the odd video you mentioned your little one, but yeah, it's purely just your persona.
Yeah, like going back, you asking me these questions and going right back now, it's a bit of an head fuck because I'm like, I've not actually like really, even before coming here, I've not like prepped myself. I've been busy doing stuff, so it's not like I've...
Yeah, sat and actually thought about how it was and so you kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so this is really raw, this is, yeah. So I do apologise.
It's fine. It's your story.
Yeah.
So what was it? Can you remember the day?
Yeah, you said it. Yeah.
Well, the little one, the day that they were due.
So
was you there?
Yeah. She had a C-section because just before she was going into like labour and stuff, my daughter, she'd like flicked round and the umbilical cord got like wrapped around her neck, but it weren't nothing like too serious, but they just wanted to do a C-section just in case anything went wrong while she was giving birth and stuff. But yeah, even in that operating theatre when she was having a C-section, I really didn't know what day it were. I remember thinking back now, and I was just like a rabbit in the headlights. I was like, and I'm not normally quiet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quite, you know.
How long did it all last?
It felt like, thinking back now, it felt like 2 minutes. I didn't know what day it were. But I remember, which, Jesus Christ, I remember midwife said, like, she just done the C-section, like, my daughter, popped out or whatever, and they're cleaning her up, and they're like, oh, do you want to cut umbilical cord? I'm like, yeah. Like, cuts this umbilical cord and whatever, and she's like, do you want to have a picture? Do you want to have a picture? And I was like, like, honest to God, it was never been like that ever.
Yeah.
And I remember getting my phone out, swiping it up, and the first thing that come on was Twitter. Okay. And I just remember this. Like, you couldn't have written it, honestly. The midwife looked at me. I looked at her, like, and I just remember putting phone back in my pocket because I was too embarrassed. I don't know what I said. I don't know what happened after that. So embarrassing, that.
So everything went okay with the birth?
Yeah, everything went fine. She was amazing. My partner at the time, she was brilliant and stuff. Doctors were all really good. She was a healthy baby and everything. So yeah, everything went as good as it could do.
How was the day you went home, like, and got to take your little one home?
Amazing, yeah, really, really good. I've still got a picture that my partner took at the time with me, like, holding
car seat.
Yeah, and it's just mad to think that me,
your dad,
I've created a life, and I'm a dad. Yeah, it's like, Jesus Christ.
So what was I'd say, first few weeks like, as like home life? You got your own place. You're both parents now. She's recovering.
It was good, but I think it were quite stressful because my partner at the time, she suffered with postnatal depression and stuff, and I just had to go straight back to work because we weren't we were like living from week to week and stuff like every other person and whatever. So I just went straight back to work, and that job was quite stressful. It was like long hours and things, and her ex-partner had a Belgian Malinois, which I don't know if you've...
Yeah, I'm aware of them.
Like working dogs. Like,
need a lot of attention.
That were just fucking something else, that coming home every day to...
So you had the dog with you?
Yeah, in a really tiny little 2-bed terraced house. And it was just... I remember it being... Don't get me wrong, obviously it were all right, but I remember it being really, really, really stressful. Like, because the dog weren't getting walked enough, like 3-4 times a day, and I were up early in the morning walking dog, travelling to work, grafting, travelling back, walking dog again. And I think that them first few months and stuff, they were hard. Do you know what I mean? They were draining.
Did you manage to find a routine? Because that's normally the first bit, settling into... Little kids live like 4 hours at a time.
Yeah. We did find a routine and stuff. We had to, unfortunately, like, give the dog away we found a dog handler who were in army and stuff. So we gave the dog to him because the dog were getting like really jealous, and she were like growling and stuff. And
oh, right, no way.
Yeah, she'd become like really protective and stuff, and it just... Yeah, it weren't really good. But yeah, we did end up finding a routine and stuff, and it did get easy. Like, once we sort of, gave the dog to somebody and stuff, and that were like one less thing on his plate, it did get better, and we did ease in. And her postnatal depression and stuff probably got a bit easier after that as well. Like, things seemed to settle down and stuff. But yeah, them first few months, I remember... Yeah,
you don't get a lot of sleep, do you? It's
No, and I remember she were awesome, my ex-partner and stuff, like really good night feeds and everything. But you do wake up, don't you? It's not like, you're fast off. You are awake with them half the time. And
I found it was hard not to be. I mean, I did.
Do you feel like I did? Like, you feel guilty in a way?
I mean, I did quite... when they were really little, I think the first one I didn't do too much. The second one I definitely did. But yeah, you don't feel great if they're waking up and you're not waking up.
But then someone's got to go and earn bread, you know.
I know. Then you feel like you wake up and then you go to work and you're absolutely knackered, and you come back home and you're trashed.
You don't get any there asleep or whatever. And
yeah, definitely the first, I'd say 6 to 9 months are really hard.
I also remember like feeling definitely not resentful, but the bond that the mother and child have.
Yeah.
And then you, as a dad, you don't really get that.
You don't come along until they get like 1 year old.
Yeah. It's like way late, like it feels way later down the line, and you're like, oh,
it's smiling now. I can get involved.
Yeah. Because you just, I don't know. I thinking back now, not that I were a spare part, but you sort of feel like a bit of an outcast almost, because they've got their bond and they're gelled and they're spending 24 hours a day together.
Yeah, especially if they're breastfeeding. I mean, that just adds another thing to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, continuing on, how was the relationship, say, over the next year? Did it just smoothly carry on being parents, you going out to work, or?
Yeah, we were like good the whole way through. Do you know what I mean? We were like, I don't know, some couples was like solid. Like we would, I were doing my work stuff. She had my daughter and things, and yeah, they were not really like. I think they were not really to complain about.
Yeah,
it was good as it as a relationship sort of can be. Everyone's got their ups and downs, and you have your arguments, and you have your tit for tats, and you're tired, and
So you're probably you said you were together for about 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
And you're probably about the 1 year mark at this point. What would you say the next big significant thing that took place?
Us probably getting like to buying us house. You know what I mean? We were moving from that poxy two bedroom terraced house, which were so small. I remember you couldn't swing a cat around in it, especially with the dog that we had as well. It was a nightmare. But yeah, we ended up getting a 3-bed terraced house, semi-detached house, like it's council house, with a nice big garden and everything. But everything needed doing to it, like new kitchen, new bathroom, everything needed doing to it. So, but we wanted to get the house because it was like our forever house. We could have stopped in that. It had room for a big wraparound extension on it, and it was an house that we couldn't really afford at the time. We couldn't get a mortgage on it, so we got in touch with an investor that sort of like bought it. It was their house, but we did like a rent to buy scheme on it.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
So we were like, speculating to accumulate. We thought we'll just pay it rent, and we had 10 years to buy the house. So that's what we ended up doing, because we just we saw potential in it, and that's what I wanted. And we could, if we had more kids, we could bring, we wouldn't have to move again and piss about and stuff.
So you end up getting the property.
Yeah.
You had to then, you're working and you're now having to, was you living in the house while you're renovating it?
And then we ended up getting another dog as well. So my mum had a rescue dog. He was he was like a massive, like a big bear. He was Shar-Pei, but he weren't like a normal. Do you know what a Shar-Pei dog? Like them wrinkly dogs where you can pull the faces around everywhere, like Japanese sort of fighting dog sort of thing. But he was huge, massive, big blue like bear thing. Soft as a brush, but
still a big dog.
Yeah, and having a dog, I was going to work during the day, and then coming home on the nights and doing house up, and because we did the house like room by room, so I did like the living room first so that we had somewhere for my daughter and whatever, and then I think then I started doing bedrooms, and I think kitchen one at last that we did, because obviously it was it's a big chunk of money in your kitchen to do, but it were.
How long did
everything were quite, when you think back about lives, everything was fucking stressful. Do you know what I mean? Trying to make it work and trying to provide, and Yeah, it were good. It were just...
There was always something going on.
Yeah, like I'm quite ambitious and quite, I'm always have to keep going, but I'll push and push and push until I sort of burn myself out. So...
How long did you live like that for? Was it 12 months, 6 months?
What, doing the house?
Yeah.
Oh, probably about a year, 2 years, like, because she wasn't working at the time, so we were just living off my money and stuff.
Because how do you manage that then? One wage, keeping a house and renovating?
Like, I earned quite a decent wage sort of thing, and obviously I used to work weekends as well.
Okay.
And
renovating.
Basically, I just used to work, and when I weren't working, I'd work on my house.
Sound like you were working a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I did, yeah. That is literally, because, well, that's what we were saying before, like, you don't really get, looking back now, I didn't really get any time do you know what I mean?
That's like a full year.
You
was working 2 jobs.
Yeah. And I literally piled everything into that house. Every bit of money I had, every spare bit of cash, all my time, blood, sweat and tears, everything into the house. So yeah, it went on for about a year. My dad helped me as well, because my dad's a builder, but...
So you get to the 2-year mark. Did you finally finish the house?
We finished the inside, yeah, and then I started on garden.
You didn't have a breakfast?
That was huge. I think we probably might have done, yeah. I think, but yeah, we did. Yeah, I think in the whole 7 years that we were together, we had like one family holiday.
Wow.
Yeah. And it would just work. For me, anyway, yeah. I'm not shy of work. Do you get what I mean? Like when you're a bloke, you just suck it up and get on with it, don't you? And just you have to provide. You have, especially me as a builder. I weren't going to get anybody else in to do it.
Like I said, I know you mentioned about being, working, being quite driven and all that. Did you ever feel the stress of working so much, or feeling the need?
Yeah, it's funny you said this. I was talking to Mum about this the other day, and I like thrive off that.
Yeah?
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I'll whinge like a bitch while I'm doing it, and I'll moan, and do you know what I mean? Like, we all do, and, I wish I never started this, fucking, this, that, and other, but that's where I just keep going and keep going and keep going, and yeah, I do sort of I like that. I was saying, yeah, so I was explaining it to Mum, like, it's like fight or flight. And if I'm not doing anything, that's like your flight, that's like my flight mode, and I don't like it. I'm like, I'm bored, I don't know what I'm doing, and I have to be doing something all the time.
I gotta say, a lot of people probably could really feel like the stress and the pressure of, I have to do all this work, and I have to do all this renovation, and I have to keep spinning all the plates, and try and be involved with the kid.
I remember don't get me wrong, I did try my hardest and stuff, but it's like
there's only so many hours as well.
Yeah, not only that, like, not that I'm saying that she did this, but you if you go out for a day and have a family day, then next day it's like I'd feel guilty that I'm not getting on my house again because that's not getting done, or I'm not saying she did, but she might have said something like, fucking hell, this needs doing, or it's like housework, innit? That never stops, does it?
How was the relationship between the two of you while it was being renovated? Because 12 months is quite a long time. You got a new kid.
It were always honestly, we're always really, or well, I thought it were anyway. I thought it were always really, really good. Like everybody, all those friends and family used to say how solid we were and how good we were, and yeah, I genuinely, honestly thought that we were both. Well, I do believe that she were happy. Do you know what I mean? We were both happy going through this whole thing. Obviously, like I say, it was stressful and there were long hours and long days and stuff. But it's your future, innit? You're working towards building something bigger and better for your kids, and
yeah,
that's all I ever. When you're quite driven, it's like, do you know.
So, did you ever actually get to a point where everything was finished, or was there always another?
It's garden's still not finished now, and I don't live there.
Does it not eat you up? Like it's still.
I'd love that house. Yeah, I do wish I'd have finished it, but obviously, it came to an end at that point. But yeah, lovely house. Don't get me wrong,
But it is.
But yeah, no, it's still garden. Everything in the house got done. It was just I did the drive, everything. It was just the back garden that sort of it's just half finished. I think I put like a big astroturf, built walls, decking and everything. Built a big like summer house with a bar and everything, and yeah, it's just that sort of stuff that didn't get finished off.
Fair enough. So did you stay in the same job, or did you transition eventually?
So I changed jobs, but I hated doing what I was doing, because I was just doing like dry lining and dotting and dabbing and stuff, like plastering and that, and it was crap. It was absolutely shit. Crap money. So I was always from when I left army at 22, I've always been sort of like self-employed. I just went and got that job because I thought it was like security and this, that and other. But no, I'd spoke to my partner at the time, and I said, like, I think it got to a point where we're probably arguing a lot at this point, and it was getting really shitty and stuff.
What was you arguing about?
It was just so that when we were arguing and stuff, it was still when we were living in that 2-bed terraced house.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? So
okay.
This is when I was sort of changing jobs. So we'd spoke about it, and we were like, we can't live in this house. It's too bloody small. We need to get a new one. So that was like one sort of thing done and dusted. But then, it was like money. So like she was like, why just go back to doing your own jobs, getting your own clients in again. And she sort of like supported me doing that. So I started advertising again. So that was probably more stress to it, because when we'd moved house, I was also building up a client base for my building company and stuff. So I was still running around looking at jobs in the morning, working during the day, pricing jobs up, doing my own house. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds pretty all like consuming.
Yeah, so I went and did that and started up doing my own company and stuff, and did all that. But then it got to the stage where this is just when you're about changing jobs. My daughter was like 4 at this point, and after doing all that for 4 years, just work. I think I can remember we were getting to a point. Obviously, we were swinging at this point as well and stuff. We'd been swinging a lot more, going to clubs and doing this, that, and other. And I was just like, I remember like looking at my daughter, and I'm like, well, no, 4 years has gone by, and I've done fucking nothing with it. Like, I've not seen her. I've not had any good quality dad and, we did have days together. We did have, you know what I mean? But it weren't.
I get it.
Especially
you wonder where the 4 years gone, and
and you just think,
what
I've not gained anything. Yeah, apart from having a nice house and whatever else. It's not like a better quality of life. It's not like I'm a millionaire and I'm doing whatever. I'm still. And for me, your kids are more than an house. Your kids are more than money. Your kids are life, aren't they? So I don't know. It was just like I just remember looking at my daughter, and I'm like, I don't want to be doing this anymore. Like, I want to be with my daughter, and I want to spend more time with my daughter. So I think at that point, then that's when I started doing SW work and stuff, and we'd spoke about making a transition to, and it weren't for money, it weren't for anything else. It were for us daughter to have more time, and just have more time and more freedom in life. And that's when I sort of went from doing building work to doing SW work.
I could say, how getting into it initially, like, did it, like, I'd say, pay off, or was there a bit of a ramp up?
What's that, the SW
Yeah.
stuff? So
Did it take time to build that up?
yeah, it did. But obviously, me and my partner at the time, we'd spoke about this, and I said to her, look, it's going to take me a while to, you know, build, you know, me up as a, you know, to get, you know, what I mean, like an
totally
online
get it, yeah.
profile and to get noticed and, you know, just to start earning some actual money from it. It's going to take me a while. And she'd sort of dabbled in it and done little bits of it, and obviously we were swinging and we knew people in the sort of industry that were doing it anyway. And I used to get people, you know, like messaging me all the time, like, why don't you just come over and do like SW work? You'd be good at it, blah 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 blah. And for me, it were always like, you know, I loved doing building work. That's what I knew. I'd started doing plastering, but then learned everything. Do you know what I mean? I really loved doing building work, but that time my daughter just weren't there.
Yeah.
So my partner at the time went doing courting work and
So you both started it?
yeah.
Okay.
But because hers were quick instant cash and money, she then could support me and us while I was sort of building my online profile and stuff and getting, you know, more established in doing SW work and stuff. So yeah, so for a good four years as time together, I was supporting us, and then it sort of flipped around the other way.
Did it manage to give you the freedom so you spent more time with your little one?
Yeah, I don't think now I could go back to doing
What you was before?
a full-time job, yeah. I see my mum and dad and I see other people and I just think
9 to 5.
what you work and you fucking die, that's it. What we aren't being rude to anybody, like everybody lives the lifestyle they want to live it, but society tells us to go to school, to leave and get a job, work all your life for somebody else, to line somebody else's pockets, and then you're in a coffin.
Yeah.
What sort of, like, to me, that's not like, do you know, like,
I get
seeing
it,
my daughter and being able to take her to school and pick her up from school, and, you know, little things like, I know a lot of banks are shut on High Street now and stuff, but being able to go to a bank during the day or go and do this during the day, whereas before when I was doing building work, I couldn't sort any of that out.
Yeah, you're starting early and you're finishing late.
Yeah. I didn't have time to go and see people. I didn't have time to sort my things out, and I probably used to put on my partner for a lot of that. You know, which then probably added more stress to her, and, you know, she's got her own stuff going off. But yeah, definitely don't think I could go back to doing. Don't get me wrong, I do bit like today I was plastering, yesterday I was plastering and stuff, and I do it and I think, oh, God, I don't know how I did this.
I mean, the goal is, I think everyone, if you had a choice of not work and spend all your time with your family, or most
It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Everyone would pick it.
Yeah.
So if it gives you more freedom, then that's...
Yeah, none of this, like me doing SW work, were about money.
Yeah.
I'm not a greedy person. I grew up with fuck all. I've got fuck all now. I've got even probably less now after everything. But it's, you know, you can't buy time, can you? So
No.
Time is precious, and we don't get enough of it.
So what, compared to, say, the first few years after you started that line of work, what was it like with your relationship with your little one?
Yeah, it got like better because I'd created more of a bond with her, and I found that she was like coming to me with more things. Like she'd always be mummy or whatever, but then it'd be like, oh daddy, you know, and it's that sort of stuff that you think, fuck, you know, I've missed out on all this.
Yeah.
And it it got better and it grew, and you know, I got to see more of like like grandparents and things, and it was, or it is, a lot better.
Did you still find that you was as driven before? I mean, what?
Yeah, because as soon as I started doing SW work, I'm sort of one of them where I'm either all in or all out. There's no half measures with me.
Yeah.
So I just jumped into it 2 feet head first, pretty much. Went round doing whatever, wherever, as fast and as quick and as rapid as I could to try and sort of get my name out there and get noticed and things. And it worked. The money wasn't there, but the sort of reputation and you know, like professionalism and stuff. And do you know what I mean? I started being noticed a bit more, not to like fans and whatever, and just
In the industry.
yeah, like in the industry, like people were noticing me and were getting in contact with me to work with me instead, and it were good. Do you know what I mean? It were good, and yeah, like I said, the money weren't there, but it were just getting to spend that time with my family.
It was enough to keep you,
to keep me going, yeah. And you know, I think, you know, once you start something, you sort of got to just roll with it, haven't you, and go for it and make it work, or otherwise it's...
Yeah. Did you find over time that the money side improved?
Yeah, but it doesn't improve like...
Drastically?
Yeah, it doesn't improve like some of these idiots talk about on...
OF and...
OnlyFans and what's that, Olivia Atwood show and all that shite. They're a bunch of fucking idiots.
Like the unique cases.
Yeah, not even that, because a lot of them lie.
Oh, okay.
Like, I know people that can't even afford a flight to go to these awards and that, and they'll lend money off other people, but then go on shows and tell them that they're earning 30 grand a month. And I'm like, no, you're not, mate, because you're driving around in a Ford Fiesta that you bought off your mum.
Okay.
So you're not.
But it still give you the freedom and the life that you wanted to live.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, because it's social media, people just big it up, don't they? And
I've got to say, if you look on social media, you kind of get the impression that you just start a profile and you're rich.
And yeah, and it definitely don't work like that. Definitely don't work like that. And not only that, it swings and roundabouts, because you'll have people subbing and unsubbing, and things go off in your private life where you might not want to post, and because it's that sort of work, you might not be feeling it, or you might not want to go out and do that day. And
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, you're working for yourself, and if something happens with family, or I don't know, it
yeah, it has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? Then, but yeah, no, it doesn't. Money didn't come straight away, and you know, it's still not there now. I'm still building myself as a, you know, I'm still building my brand as me, and Jackhammer and stuff. So, yeah.
How was your relationship with your ex over this time, say over the next year or two? Did it improve, or was there any change?
No, it did improve, because we were going for like dinner together during the day. We'd like set up a home office, so we'd both be working in a home office. She was doing her work as well, so I'd just be upstairs doing my computer work, and she'd be doing her stuff downstairs and whatever, or she'd be working away. So I'd have my daughter then as well, so that'd give me more chance to spend time with my daughter, to drop her off, pick her up from school. So yeah, it did. The quality of life, it was good, and it suited us as a couple, and it worked. Yeah.
How long would you say it lasted like that for, until there was a bit of a change?
It was going. Everything was going all right. It was just when I'm very, very, very open. Like, what you see is what you get, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. And you know, I've probably got my faults for that sometimes and whatever. But so all my family and all my friends, everybody knew what I were doing.
Yes.
But her parents didn't know, and they thought that I weren't working, and I weren't providing, and I weren't bringing money in. So every time we went down to her parents' house, which were quite a lot, I just used to just fucking get it in ear all the time about not providing and not going to work. And you know, you should be going to work for a company. You shouldn't be self-employed. If you're not earning money, then you shouldn't be, you know. But they didn't. They were none the wiser. So I
mean,
did
they
a
didn't
good
need
few
to know
months.
the ins and outs, I guess. But
They didn't.
I mean, like, as if you wasn't providing and all that. If you bring in an income,
Well, yeah, but I suppose having that conversation, especially when they were Catholic as well, like,
oh right, okay.
so that probably like added a different aspect to it. But yeah, they thought that she were all like prim and proper, and you know, they brought her up as a good Catholic girl, and this, that, and other. You know, lo and behold, I met her on Chuffing Swinging's website, but yeah, so it did go really, really well. It were amazing, but then cracks started to appear, but not from us. It was like I said, her parents like having their 20 pence worth and saying things to me, and then you know, we'd leave after a Sunday dinner, and I just feel like shit, like broke and down and depressed, because even though I was earning, because I'd stopped, my money started building up and stuff, it weren't thousands and thousands, but it were enough, and she were doing her work and she were earning decent money, but more than me. But yeah, it were getting on me, it were grinding me down, and as a bloke that's provided and worked his arse off and been in army and been on tour, and do you know what I mean? It's like, it's demoralising as a man.
Yeah, you're trying your hardest and you're doing this, and you just in your like, mind it's for the kid, so you can spend more time, and it's for the family, and
that's genuinely what our thing were. It were for us. Don't I know that might some people might sound stupid, that you know.
I understand it. It's time with the kids. They're only young once, and once they get to that certain age, like 12 or something, they want to be with the mates, and
well, you're not going to see them again. Yeah.
That's And if you've not spent enough time with them, they probably wouldn't give a shit.
But yeah, that's what it were for us. It were time, and yeah, having that freedom and time more than anything else.
So as the cracks started to appear, did then that sort of work in between the two of you?
Yeah, we started having like little arguments and things and what have you, but yeah, it started having like, just cracks started to appear and stuff. That wasn't the main reason why.
No, but
it contributed to it, and then I probably shouldn't have done, but you know, after months and months of feeling like you're not good enough and feeling like shit every time you come back from a Sunday dinner, you know, I probably started putting on her a little bit more to say, like, you know, we're going to tell them, like, this is what we're doing now. This is our lives, like.
Or to come clean and like open. Yeah. Okay.
And maybe I probably pushed that a little bit too much, maybe, thinking back.
Did that ever happen?
Yeah. And that's when
it sounded like it was quite an event.
Yeah, it were, yeah. Yeah, I'll never forget it. Yeah. I remember phone calls and everything at work and stuff. And
did she actually say it? Or
that wasn't. There were other factors involved. It weren't just that, and it weren't just me putting on her telling that you need to tell your mum. Like I said, wear me heart on my sleeve, and I was probably an oversharer, but I'd started working with a female in the industry, and we'd known each other for a good like 6 to 8 months or whatever. I can't remember how long it was. A good period of time, but as soon as I met this person, we just clicked, and it wasn't like, you know, it weren't she was married. We skipped my wedding, but yeah, I was married at this point, so obviously we both knew what were what, but we just clicked, and it was just a really, really, really good friendship. We're still friends now, but probably to my partner at that point, and I understand lines were sort of getting blurred, and we were working together quite a lot, and going away to like London and working together with other people and doing courting and stuff. And because at this point I started getting into doing courting and things. And
what is courting? Is it?
I don't know if you can say it on here or whatever, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just leave it at courting.
Okay.
Do you know what, you know?
I don't.
No, because it's like what the?
I'll Google it later. I have no idea what. I thought it was dating. No.
Begins with an ES.
Okay.
And then you never seen them thing that says wide load not back, and he's down a motorway and they're escorting a vehicle down the motorway.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Jiggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was something else at first. I was like, what?
I didn't know how to explain it now.
No.
I've been shit at charades.
Okay.
So yeah, so we started doing that, and you know, going like away on weekends and stuff. And then I think I was driving down to London one day, and I was going on a shoot. It was like a production shoot, and me and this other person were having a conversation and stuff. And I think she'd said to me that she probably liked me a little bit more than, because we, you know, it weren't just me and her. It was me. And her husband, like I used to go to gym with him and stuff, and
okay, so you know, yeah, you getting to know them both.
Yeah, we were just really, really, really close, like the four of us. But she'd said to me that, you know, she might be sort of getting feelings, but she didn't know, and I think that's when it sort of dawned on me that it could be a little bit more than a friendship, but obviously we weren't willing to lose what we had. And do you know what I mean, when you're doing SW work and you're working that close with each other and you're doing it a lot and whatever, you know, people probably sat at home thinking, are you fucking stupid, did you not think that were going to happen, and blah 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 blah. But when you've been swinging for 14 years and you've never been attached to any of these people, and you can be friends with these people and you can go to clubs with them and have drinks with them, and all your partners are talking, it's not, I know that might sound totally alien to normal, you know, not normal, you know what I mean, normal people that don't do swinging and stuff.
If you meet someone that you seem to have a bit of a connection with, and it gets a little bit more awkward.
Yeah, but we were both married and we were both adults. We knew that, you know, she was a little bit older than me. So, you know, we just knew that we weren't ever going to go in and weren't going to try anything. But I think on that drive down, and I just felt, I remember feeling so fucking guilty inside that I sort of knew I had these like little bits of feelings, but before I probably, you know, just ignored them and didn't even want to, do you know what I mean? I didn't address it, I didn't think about it. But then when I were driving down and we'd had this conversation and I was thinking about it more, I just felt so fucking guilty inside. And me being me and being honest and open, I just told my partner that away at time. I said, like, look, me and such we've spoke on phone, and I don't really know, you know, I fucking can't even remember what I said on phone now, but I know it were an awkward, weird conversation.
How did she take it?
How do you think?
I gotta say that's pretty open to be that blunt.
A lot of blokes wouldn't fucking even dare even say, you know, fucking mutter it.
No, they just leave it.
They'd just carry on doing it, wouldn't they? And
leave it, sort of not say anything.
Yeah, or end up breaking up, and then, do you know?
Yeah, to actually say it that bluntly to him.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I were fucking shitting my pants all the way down motorway, and I didn't really know how to say it, or...
You feel you had to say it?
Yeah, because we were so open and honest about everything. Absolutely everything. And I'd never been like that before with anybody. I were always a dick. I were always running around trying to probably find something better, and... Do you know what I mean? I'll hold my hand up and say that I was like that, or young and naive and whatever else, and you always think grass is greener on the other side, don't you? But with me and her, I'd like turned over a new leaf. Do you know what I mean? I'd got my daughter. We'd got our daughter. We had his family and stuff, and that's not what, I didn't want to do that anymore. That weren't me. It's not what I'm about anymore. So we were really, really, really open with each other. So, like I said, I felt like I had to, I wanted to tell her. I didn't want it to be weighing on my conscience. And like I said, we're both adults. We knew it weren't going anywhere. So I just thought it'd be better just coming clean and trying to explain to her.
So what was the outcome after you told her?
Well, it went down like a lead balloon, didn't it? But yeah, I remember I were in London and she drove all that night. No, it wasn't that night. It might have been next day. It was the next day I did my shoot, and then when I come back from that, she drove all the way down to London to meet me and with my daughter, and I'd booked an extra night in a hotel and stuff so that we could, talk about things and decide what we were gonna do and things and everything else. And yeah, that were a really hard shit couple of days and like conversations and stuff. And
I mean, you knew it wasn't going anywhere, and you raised it. Wasn't there any possibility that you were going to stay together? Or
yeah, obviously, I was.
But you were just raising it to sort of make her.
Yeah, because I didn't want there to be any lies. I didn't want there to be any secrets. So there never had been, and I didn't want it to start.
Yeah. So you thought there could have been a chance that you could have stayed together, but there was feelings, or
yeah. So I was telling her because I felt guilty and stuff, and I didn't want there to be any secrets and anything. But I wanted to tell her because I wanted her to know that I weren't doing her dirty. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to stay as a family, and I wanted us to stay solid, and I wanted us to stay together forever. Obviously, us men are completely fucking different to women, aren't they? So probably what I had going through my head when I think, oh yeah, I'll just tell her and hopefully we can work this out. Well,
you got feelings for another woman.
Yeah, it didn't fucking go down like that. All right, Chris. So yeah, it didn't go well. I remember, we were having talks and arguments, and obviously they'd spoke, and because we were all friends and things, so that got a bit out of hand and stuff, and they had arguments and what have you, and we did stay together. So we did, she was like, look, I remember we were in kitchen, and she was like, she were all right about it. To be fair, one bit she were all right for like a week, but it must have been playing on her mind, which it would have done, and it would have done to me or anybody else. That it's one thing sleeping with somebody else, but it's another thing having feelings for somebody else.
Yeah.
But in my defence, it weren't love. Do you know what I mean? It weren't like we were gonna just fucking get up tomorrow and piss off with each other and try and spend the rest of his lives together. It were just us acknowledging that there were probably a little bit more to this. But we had boundaries. We knew it weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all right me knowing that and her knowing that. But my partner at the time, she was probably thinking all sorts of shit. Do you know what I mean? And thinking.
I think just at that point, I've got to say, you mentioned about getting married earlier on. Just to jump back to there, I'm guessing, did you propose, or was it one of them where you just end up getting married?
God, yeah, so much hate. I never wanted to get married.
Okay.
Ever. I just thought it were. I still think it now. It's just a lot of shit. It's just a money making everybody else's day. Do you know? It's not. I probably sound really boring and like bar humbug and a like moody git, but I don't need a piece of paper and a round ring, a gold ring, to tell me that I love somebody and I want to spend the rest of my life with them. I don't think you need that.
So I'm guessing it was from the ex's side, being Catholic.
Yeah, and obviously my daughter had my second name, and she wanted my second name as, you know, along with my daughter and stuff. So I remember pecking for ages on about getting married and, you know, when we're going to get married and this, that and other. And I remember just saying to her, look, if you want to get married, we'll get married. But I said, like, all right, typical, you sort it out, you deal with it. I've got enough stuff on. Obviously, this is when I had my building company and we were, you know, doing all that lot. And I was like, look, if you want to get married, I'll get married, but I'm not having out to do with it. You just.
How old was your little one roughly at this point? Just so.
We got married in 2021. And she was 2018. So.
Is that about 3?
Yeah, it's about 3-ish, yeah.
Okay.
But my partner at the time, she didn't want like a big like wedding or anything. She like I said, she sorted it all out, bless her. Went and got married in Perth, up in Scotland, and it was literally just us two. Just went away and got married. It were a proper lovely like time. It was so nice. It probably one of the only times at that period in time where I didn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? We went away, got married, and had a weekend of doing nothing.
I've got to say, did you feel any different once you were married?
No.
Yeah.
Well, another fucking day, innit? I got to wear a suit.
Yeah.
I got married. She did leave me waiting there for like 40 minutes though, which I were...
Just you on your own?
Sweating. Yeah, so I think she's turning up or what? What's going off? But she was stuck in traffic. So, but yeah, so no, I didn't feel any different. Honestly, it was an absolutely lovely day and everything went really nice and, you know, yeah, it was good. It was really, 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 really nice. But, good. Yeah. I weren't really bothered about getting married.
Wasn't really for you?
No.
So, I guess, jumping back to where we were before, you said that you end up staying together after you mentioned about getting feelings for the other couple. Or
I didn't have feelings for him.
That was it.
We'll just next, you know.
Yeah, you just not mention it now. Having feelings for the other woman. So you carried on being a couple at that point?
Yeah, so we sort of carried on being a couple at that point. Obviously, it were really, really rocky at that stage, and we're having like arguments every other day, and she didn't know whether she could deal with me having feelings for somebody else. But you know, so I kept like reiterating that it weren't like that, and I weren't going anywhere, and I didn't want to go anywhere, and what have you. But yeah, I don't know what I would have been like in that position, and I probably wouldn't like to be in that position. I'm not going to lie. Do you know what I mean? It's not something that you set out to do. It just
it'd make you question a lot hearing, I guess, your partner mention about feelings for another person. It'd be hard.
Yeah.
So how long did you, I guess, continue in that?
Flick that.
Oh, yeah. Stick it on.
Yeah. Just worried about like that wrong.
How long did you continue in the current setup?
It was only like I don't know, a couple of weeks, a month maybe before. I remember my partner at the time like saying to me, you know, it got to a point where she basically gave me an ultimatum and said, you know, if you want to carry on working with that person and you want to carry on being friends with that person, then, you know, we just can't be. That's it, done. And me probably like the stubborn side of me and people saying to me, you can't do that. didn't really, I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't want to. If we weren't friends, then it had just been cut and dry. But because I'd become friends with her and her husband, and we was all friends, I didn't want to. I didn't want to give that friendship up. I said.
So you wanted to pretty much cut her off.
Yeah, and I was just a bit like, I get that, but how long do I have to cut her off for? How long, is this a permanent thing? Do you get what I mean? It's all these it's really difficult. It's difficult when there's feelings involved and you're having sex with other people. It's easy when there's not feelings involved because it's just rock up, do your shit and bugger off again and what have you. And then you end up becoming friends if you know what I mean? You end up becoming friends if you meet more and you go out for drinks and you go for social events and you're not doing anything.
Yeah, you don't get attached or anything.
Yeah, you don't really get attached. But yeah. Yeah, it were messy and stuff. But I basically just said like I didn't want to cut it off, and there were all these questions and from myself and from her and it were a minefield to navigate. Do you know what I mean? Because it weren't just talking because we ended up arguing.
Was anything said from her partner? Was there any resistance there? Like maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, he obviously felt like really uncomfortable towards. I think you're all right with it, obviously at the start, but then obviously once all this started happening and we were having arguments with each other and it got to the stage, you know what I mean? He was like, this needs to stop because this is affecting everybody now. And yeah, it just got really fucking messy and really shit and that quick.
So what would you say, I guess, came from it next?
So me being me and being a bit of a dick and probably a bit of a hothead and do you know what I mean? I was a bit like, well, if you're giving me an ultimatum, then I will happily stop seeing her and I'll stop being friends with her, I'll cut her out of my life. But I'm sick of going down to your mum's house every day a week and getting slated and slagged off and, you know, coming away feeling like a shit dad and just a crappy bloke.
Yeah.
Like, if I have to give that up, then you're having to. I'm not living a lie anymore. That's basically what I was like. I've not been lying up to now. I've told you the truth. I've told you everything. So if I'm being open and honest, then you've got to be open and honest because I'm sick of living a lie. Like, it all comes out in wash, or it just don't come out at all, sort of thing. And then that were probably that. After that, that's probably, you know.
Was that right before you end up properly breaking?
Yeah, because I remember being at work and we were like having massive arguments. Obviously, she didn't want to tell her mum and dad, and I said, you know, I just couldn't live like that anymore. It you know, it were really shitty and messy at that point anyway. And I just wanted everything to be out on the table and just to try and maybe, you know, wipe slate clean and sort of like start again, as it were. But with no lies, not everything out on the table. So yeah, that like literally put like nail in coffin. That me sort of giving her sort of an ultimatum back. That were when it.
Of course. So, was that when she kind of up and
yeah?
left?
So that day when I were on the phone, and I sort of like give her an ultimatum and stuff. I can't really remember like what sort of like got said, but I remember saying I was ringing mum up on my own. I started driving home, and as soon as I got in the van, I rang my mum and I said, "Look, I might have to come and stay. Like, if you don't mind, am I all right to come and sort of stay at home for a bit?" And mum like, what's going off? I'm like, well, I don't really know yet. I'm not sure myself, but I just want to give her some space and let her think. And she was telling me that she needed some space. So I'm like, well, you know, I'll go back to my mum's, give you some space. That'll give you some time to think about what you want. And you know, if we can move forward, how we're going to move forward and whatever else. So I went on the phone to my mum, saying all that lot, and then I remember getting a phone call from my partner at the time, and you know, she was like, "Oh, you know," I can remember saying, "I'm going down to mum's if you know this," and I'm like, "No, I'm you and my daughter, you know, can stay in the house. I'll go to her mum's for a bit and just give her some space and whatever else." And I remember getting over, I think, yeah, it was about 6, 7 o'clock, and it was going dark at times, so it must have been like, you know, sort of like heading towards winter time or whatever. And in fact, it weren't. Yeah, it was like, I can't remember when it were. They just weren't in.
Oh, they weren't, okay.
So obviously every day when I've got home from work, they've always been, you know, coming home to my family, they've always been at home. And I got home this one evening and they just weren't there.
Did you feel like something was not right? Or that not setting?
Yeah, because obviously she'd been saying about going to her mum's or her dad's and stuff, but because that's what I said to her. I remember saying to her, let me come home, give my daughter a kiss, like not say goodbye, but just kiss her goodnight, let me to put her to bed, and I'll go and I'll stop at my mum's, and then so that's what I was expecting when I got home. I was expecting for them to be there, for me to kiss my daughter, you know, put her to bed and what have you, but they just weren't there. I just got home to an empty house with all the lights off.
I'm guessing, did you try and ring her?
Yeah, I didn't know if they'd like gone to the shop or whatever, or, you know, they'd been out and seen one of, you know, she might have been out and seen her friends and what have you, but I remember just waiting, sat on the edge of bed for about 2 hours. Just, I'm an overthinker anyway, but I was just spinning in my head and like thinking, you know, should we back there now, you know, has she gone to her mum's, has she gone to her dad's? Is this it? Have they gone? No, they can't have gone. She would have said something. Surely to God, she would have said something. But that were it. Just gone. And I remember trying to ring her, and she finally answered, and she was like, "Oh, I'm scared. You fucking." Because we'd obviously been shouting and arguing, and you know, she'd said stuff to me, and I'd said stuff to her and stuff. And I'm thinking, what do you mean you're fucking scared? What are you going on about? Why? I just want to put my daughter to bed, and I will leave you alone. I will go to my mum's, and you can have your space, you can have your time as long as you want. I just want to see my daughter and put her to bed. That's all I want. And she's like, "You're not seeing your daughter again. I'm scared of you. You know, I don't want to see you anymore." All this, just like. Just come out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? So, like, such a surreal moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, at this point, then my fucking head had just gone. Like, I didn't know what day it were. I didn't know what we were doing.
Did you say anything else other than that?
I was just crying my eyes out. I just didn't know what I can't. To be honest, I can't even remember what I said. I remember saying like. I'm obviously probably like begging and pleading with her and whatever else. But yeah, that were it. And I just remember, obviously I went to go and find her then, because my head had gone, and I was angry, I was upset. You had a life and you had a family, and then you come home and it's just fucking gone. Like, that's your life there, just gone in a fucking puff of smoke. It's not something that, you know, we didn't. It's weird, like I was saying to you earlier, we didn't, even to this day now, like I said to you earlier, we've not spoke So there's been no closure for me whatsoever for any of us. Like there's not sat down and have a conversation. We've not had mediation. We've not had anything. It would just get home from work.
You said, yeah, and she's just
gone. That's it, done. So yeah, it was just a bit. For me.
It's been a little while since you're separated, but the fact of you've not had that closure, what would you say it's done?
Oh, I fucked my head up. Like really, really. I remember being sat at my mum's table in the kitchen for weeks, thinking why, how, what if, woulda, shoulda, coulda, all these things, like not having no closure and not being able to speak about things and having a conversation about everything and not being able to try and work things out at that time. That were like, apart from not seeing my daughter and not having my daughter and stuff, that were like biggest head fucking world.
Yeah, your life just came to a stop and you don't know how to fix it and how to...
It's not even... I couldn't even try and fix it. Yeah. There were no... Do you know what I mean? They were just... They were nothing. That were it, done. So the not having any closure bit were the... I just couldn't get my head around it. I just couldn't understand. And there might be a lot of people on here thinking, well, come on, mate, you've just...
You was together for 7 years.
Yeah, and the lifestyle that we lived weren't a normal lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? That were the sex bit, were having sex with other people and whatever else were part of our lifestyle. That were our life. And to me, it was just a little... I don't know, and to me, it was like a little speed bump that we didn't even fucking try and get over. Do you know what I mean? We didn't even...
Yeah, just threw it all out straight away and gone.
Yeah, that were it, done. There were no talking about it. There were no going to see counselling. So I remember mentioning that a few times. Nothing. It was just cut and dried, done.
I mean, since then to now, have you managed to come to terms with it all and sort of...
I don't think anybody ever does come to terms with it. I think you just fucking get on with it and just move on. Like... I was sat there for weeks and weeks and weeks thinking, well, I know why. It was mostly to do with me and our situation and everything, but yeah, like...
Not having the conversation afterwards or...
Yeah, just not...
Or even saying it's over, it's...
Yeah, there weren't none of that. Not, you're dumped.
Yeah.
You're a fucking waste to get at me, like, there were no... I'd have probably dealt with her screaming and shouting and... she could have levered 10 bells of shit out of me. That would probably made me feel better than what I had with just nothing at all. Like nothing. Just to be sat on your own with your own thoughts and feeling guilty about what had happened and everything else.
I was going to say, after this has all happened, you still have to go back to work and everything still has to... go on as some sort of normality.
I didn't really go back to work. My OnlyFans, everything just went down.
You just stopped?
Yeah, when you're not, you don't feel sexy there when you just, all your worlds just fell apart and you're living at your mum's and where are then, 33 or whatever, 34, 33. And like I say, you're living back at your mum's. I know there's other guys that have done it at 55. It don't matter. Like we were saying earlier, you think you're the only one going through that at the time. So,
no. But what was your life, and then suddenly this such a drastic change?
Yeah, it was just... I don't think anyone could... There's not any words to sort of describe how you just... I was just in a bottomless pit of fucking depression.
So what did you manage to do with your days?
Just got stoned all day, every day, and just... I sat with a mountain of paperwork, debts, and everything, because by this point I'd changed my address, because I probably like a week had gone by, and I remember Mum saying like, "What are you doing? You can't just sit here all day, getting baked out your tree, wallowing in self pity. Like you need to work. You need to do. I know what's going off's bad, but you need to sort yourself out, Lewis." Just fucking I just went to shit for like a week or whatever. And then I remember just like I said, I've been sat with tons and tons of paperwork, of debt, and all this other shit that I'd been left with that were all in my name, because she had an IVA at the time when we were together. So everything got put in my name. Car, everything.
Fucking hell.
And then every day there'd be a different bill coming through, a different direct debit, a different loan, a different this. And obviously a lot of it, I didn't even have a clue what it were or where it were from, because my partner, when I had a building company, she worked in the office, she was like my admin staff. So she dealt with everything, HMRC stuff, everything. Probably not a bit stupid and naive on my part not to have all me.
I mean, when you've got a partner, you trust them. It's understandable.
Yeah. So not only did I have not having any closure, not being able to try and probably got in a way like trying to talk my wife back round to not leaving and whatever else. I had all these things going through the door and bailiffs and whatever else that I didn't even know were going off in background or all that.
You had no idea?
No idea. I'd never seen an HMRC letter come through letterbox. Like when you get on from where there were no letters on the floor. I'd not done a tax return in 3 years, apparently. I'd signed for a car that I couldn't afford now, that I'd never signed for in my life. She'd signed for it. There was just something new every single day. And then after a few months of that, I just sort of become used to this shit. Like, I just thought, okay, well, that is what it is now. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, eventually you just start rolling with it. And things sort of not get better, but probably sort of get
did you manage to
easier.
All that debt? Like, did you manage to see a way through it?
Yeah, my mother. She helped me out with a lot of it with credit cards and things.
Yeah. Those ones are pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because for me as well, I was just trying to build my online profile and stuff and just getting set up, and I just got money starting to come in like a regular wage. And then all that happened, and I didn't do that. I were on my arse. Like, I just...
Did you have to go back to building work?
I didn't have a pot to piss in. It were obviously when I'd gone to, when we mentioned about court and things, and then I had to pay for like C100 forms, and then I'd spoke to solicitors and realised
Okay. So you started going down that route?
Yeah, well, like...
How long is this? Is this a few months or is it 6?
I did mine pretty damn quick, because I went to see solicitors and they were like, oh, we can send them letters, we can do this and we can do that. And I just thought, from what I've had now, which has been jack diddly squat, I knew that weren't going to work. Do you know what I mean? I knew trying to reason with my my ex-partner, and trying to come to some sort of like mutual ground where we could sit down and talk about things.
Because she's not even been talking at this point.
Yeah, it just weren't going to happen. I'd have just been wasting my time. Then it'd have been longer and longer and longer till I'd seen my daughter or got any contact with my daughter and stuff.
So I think you said it was about 2 months, was it?
Yeah, it were a couple of months. It were, like I said, I had to get some money for solicitors. Like I said, I'd gone back doing building work. I was doing SW work. I were doing everything and anything that I could do to just get some money. Didn't care what it were. I knew I had to get this money to see my daughter again, and that's all I cared about. That's all I was bothered about. So that's sort of like, yeah, just once I got my act together and I stopped feeling sorry for myself and stopped smoking copious amounts of weed, I obviously got myself together, and you know, and just I sort of stopped thinking about her and just thought about my daughter, and just, you know, just like I said, I don't really cope with it. I just accepted the fact that it were done.
Yeah.
And I've got to move on now. That's it. This is my life now. That's all been and done.
I mean, did the whole gaining access, did it go pretty smoothly?
No, because, oh, God, there's so, you know, when you're doing these stories, sorry, Chris, there's so much that there's like loads that happened that we've not spoke about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
you can't talk about it all, can you?
You just pick out whatever you feel's important.
Yeah.
What you want to cover.
So, I'd gone to see a solicitor. I'd started inquiring and, you know, obviously C-100 forms and this, that, and other, like, started setting everything up and stuff. The first sort of, like, where it started when I knew it were going to sort of, like, get difficult, it were before this point. So when I was changing my addresses and everything to my mum's, I still had letters going to my previous address. I'd asked my mum to ask my partner, well, ex-partner, you know, can he come down and collect his post and this, that, and other. He needs his post because he needs these things from his bank statement. Do you get what I mean? All these bank statements and this, that, and other. And can he come down and get some post? Yeah, he can come down and get some post. I thought, fucking, I've got loads of building materials on back garden, loads of shit from my building company, materials, like equipment, all that. I thought, right, if I can go and get all that in van, I can, you know, that'll get me some money to live on a bit and to, you know, pay for this, that, and other. So I went down. She said, oh, come down, I'm not going to be at this time, blah, blah, blah. Right, son. So drove down, got out of the car, went to open door, locks were changed. I'm like, the fuck? Went round to the back garden, and because locks were changed and I didn't know if anybody were in or not, I just started taking pictures of all my stuff from a building company that I could maybe sell or whatever. Yeah. And so I started taking pictures of everything. And then Ed pops out that window, like, oh, what the fuck are you doing here? Fucking get off my property. But I'm like,
ain't both of your properties?
Well, yeah, I am on deed and I am still on deed to house, but I'm like, what? I'm like, you've said that you weren't going to be in. Like, you said I could come down and get my post. I wanted to take a picture of all this stuff. I was literally there for 2 minutes. Wham, 2 cop cars straight up.
Yeah. Shit.
I'm like, the fuck? What are these doing here? Oh, I says, you all right? Says, yeah. Are you Mr. Hild? Yeah.
Wait, didn't she agree saying that you could go down?
Yeah.
Stitch up.
So entrapment, basically.
Fucking.
Plain as day as well. It weren't. I've got, you know, I had all text messages on phones, everything. 2 cop cars pulled up. Yeah, Lewis. Yeah. We're arresting you on suspicion of stalking. This is fucking stalking. So it's my house. My name's on that deed. It's my property. Like, how can I get done for stalking? I've been here once in the last however many, you know, weeks had gone by. I said, since I left the house, I've not been back. yeah, because I'd got a load of clothes when I'd left, so I had no reason to sort of go back. I didn't want to disturb them. I didn't want to, put anyone under any pressure or anything. Or do you know what I mean? I didn't want to be a dick about all. And yeah, so I remember being stood back at Cop Van because there were a van and a car, and obviously they emptied all my pockets out and everything, and took my work phones that I needed to do social media and everything. And while all this were going off, I just remember her being stood in the window upstairs in my daughter's bedroom, just smiling at me. Like, I remember dead eye contact. And I remember having to look away because I just, when you just feel your blood boiling, I just thought, oh my, horrible sort of like thoughts were going through my head because I knew what she'd, at that point then I knew what she were doing and I knew what she'd done.
Yeah, proper stitch up.
They don't get me wrong, guys that arrested me for suspicion of stalking were really nice guys, really sound. Took me to the police station and everything. Locked me up in like an holding cell. And so I thought that I was just there for suspicion of stalking. And then when they took me to, obviously I'd got a solicitor, duty solicitor. And then lo and behold, when he got me, I think they'd left me in cells for it overnight. I think I got took out of a cell about 3 o'clock in the morning. So they'd left me there all fucking day, all night, sort of thing. And I remember coming out and speaking to a solicitor, really nice. He was an Indian guy, really nice guy, proper sound. And even he said that they shouldn't have held me. He were a bit peed off. He was like, they shouldn't have held you for this long. They know what they're doing. And then I know why they're holding you. It's because of what you've been accused of. I'm just thinking, it's suspicion of stalking. And then controlling and coercive behaviour come out. And grape.
Yeah.
And assault. And there must have been about 8 or 9, a good 7 or 8 things on this thing that I'd been accused of doing. And I think this bit really, because obviously when I was saying I was sat at home with all this paperwork, this was prior sort of to that. And that, I think this is what I think this is one of the biggest things that messed me up, because being accused of these sorts of things that you're not, and you're a good dad, and you know that, I fucked up and, things happen and what have you, but I'd been sort of like faithful, and I'd been, a good husband and a good dad and stuff, and I was there to support them and everything else. For that person that you've trusted all that time to try and screw you over with such serious allegations, I remember, I don't get me wrong, I spent a lot of time in fucking police cells before, but they've been either off my nut or whatever, and I've just slept through it all and not give a shit and come out other end. But to be in there because of your own family and your wife and what she's accused you of, it fucking messed me up big time. I really, really did mess me up. And I remember after everything, basically, solicitor just told me he knew as soon as he met me, and you get a feel for it. He just knew it was all bullshit straight away. And he said to me, he said, I deal with these cases day in, day out. He said, most of them are just fucking crap. Like, it's just because of what's happened or whatever's happened in your relationship. So just no comment everything for now, because all they're going to try and do at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning is just fucking twist you around in circles and try and, make this estimate that...
Yeah, anything against you.
Yeah. They're just going to try and fucking mess you up. So just no comment everything. They'll bail you and we'll sort it out another day, sort of thing. So that's what I did. But...
Did you get a non-mol?
Well, yeah. So that's coming up. So I remember driving. I don't know how I drove from sort of like Derbyshire up to Sheffield because I was just crying all the way home. I couldn't hold it in. I can't even remember drives. I can't remember seeing road because I was just fucking streaming. Because that was another thing. They're like, do you want to ring anybody? Would you like a phone call? And at 34, you're thinking, 33, who the fucking hell do I ring at this?
Yeah,
I'm an adult.
Your missus or your mum.
Yeah, and I ain't going to ring them at stupid o'clock in the morning and tell them all these things. So you feel like, you're on your own. And you ain't got no one to talk to in themselves and that. And then, like I said, I was crying up my home. I got home at about 6:30, 7 o'clock, something in the morning. They were only my dad in the house. And he goes, I walked in the house and he says, what the fuck have you been? What you been doing? And I just fucking broke down into tears. I remember me and my family we're close, do you know what I mean? But we're not affectionate. I think I fucking hugged my dad twice in my whole life. I think my dad's told me that he'd loved me about 5 times. It could have been more, but I just, you know what I mean?
I get you, yeah.
My dad, he's a bloke, an old school bloke sort of thing. You don't, do you know what I mean? And I just remember him hugging me and just telling me that he loved me and telling me that everything was going to be all right.
You're right.
But piss off with that tissue. And that's, it just, that proper snapped me because I just felt, no matter what I'd sort of done or not done, I were honest and open. And for somebody that you thought that you'd live this 7 years with your life, for them to accuse you of unspeakable fucking things, it's wrong, like proper wrong. And there's fuck all you can do about it.
I know.
Absolutely nothing. Because all these allegations that they make up are hard to prove. Do you get what I mean? It's hard to prove that they're lying about this. Because it's all just fucking hearsay. But they'll lock you up like that. And just arrest you on some bullshit allegations, stalking your own house when you've put 50 odd grand into the house and all your time and effort into it. It would just, it changes you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can imagine. And you've not even spoke to her even since then, even after receiving. So I'm guessing you didn't see her in court as well?
Nah, she went around with them stupid fucking curtain things because she was scared and she was petrified. And
I mean, was it stated when all this was supposed to have happened?
Oh,
since
yeah.
you was not talking?
Yeah, get a load of this. So I'd graped her in 2018, 2019. Bearing in mind we got married in 2021. And I didn't organise wedding. I didn't want to get married. When I'd got bailed and then I went back for, more questions, to answer bail and all this lot, it got easier because you start and reading copper that's questioning you, and even he's reading it and he's looking at when it happened, what's happened in your relationship, when you got married. And you can see confusion on his face. And he's... Do you know what I mean? After I'd been, got rebailed when... And then I went
again. You've gone away, you've took him home and it's settled a little bit. And
then you go again and it's same officer that's, some detective sergeant that's questioning you. And it's same guy. And he's like, and then... I'm saying to him, because at first, when it were no comment, I just no comment, everything. I didn't get to say anything, and he didn't get anything from me. But then when I went down to bail the second time and I said, and right at the end of the question, I'm like, so I raped her in 2018, 2019 and whatever it were, but we got married in 2021. Does that make sense to you? And he just didn't have what to say. There were loads of things that he knew it, you know, I could tell he knew it were all bullshit that he were reading.
Yeah.
But they've obviously got to go through a process, haven't they? And they've got to do the job and they've got to...
treat you as guilty, almost.
Fucking basically, yeah. I've seen a lot of dads on TikTok that have said all exactly the same thing, that, you know, it should be innocent until proven guilty, but you're not. You're fucking guilty from day dot.
It's not in family court. It's
you're not in police station. You know, like you said, in family court, same. Police station, it's same. As soon as you know, and this is, I don't know if there's any guys that have come out and said that this woman's raped me and this woman's done this to me, and then that woman's been banged up, fucking quick as all. But
yeah.
You know, speaking to my solicitor, it's just a process that people do. I'm not going to say women do, but this is just a process that people do to get other people out of their lives quick.
Gives them control.
But like we were saying earlier, it's funny how you get accused, or, you know, you'll get accused of being controlling and coercive, because apparently I were controlling and coercive because I made her do courting. I made her do SW work. I made her sleep with these guys. I made her do all this lot. But yeah, she was travelling down to London or Leeds or Leicester or wherever on weekends working on her own. I went there, I was looking after my daughter.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
So what was it? After you've spoken to the police a few times, I'm guessing, would that have come to a head, or I'm guessing they get to a point where they go NFL?
No. This was funny bit, and my mum said it, my dad, everybody said it. As soon as I went, I had to go all the way through court, kept getting rebailed all the time. They still had all my fucking belongings, everything. I kept saying to them, I need it for work, I need to do my work, I had to go out and buy a new phone. Do you know, like, all these, like, things. And as soon as I won't say winning court, but as soon as I got access to my daughter, and Kafkas knew and the courts knew that it was just, you know, probably bullshit and it was just another process that they're going through. As soon as I got access to my daughter and I got court order to say, right, this is when you're having your daughter, blah, blah, blah. Week later, got a letter through the door. Everything's been squashed.
Really?
So honestly, in fact, I don't even think it were a week. A few days, boom, letter come through. And I remember reading it.
It's like she's lost at that point, so there's no point.
Yeah, and I'm like, I remember my mum saying to me, like, that can't be a coincidence. Like, there is no way that you've been rebailed and rebailed and rebailed. There's been no evidence. A story kept changing. A friend started ringing me up saying, this ain't right. Like, I think something's going wrong. Like, we know it's not you now. Do you know what I mean? Like, people started clicking on and noticing things.
Did anything ever come of the fact of she made these allegations and none of them were found to be true?
What's that? Did anyone...
did anything happen to your ex off the back of these allegations getting made?
I rang police, I rang my solicitor and I said, look, everything's been like squished now. You know, there's no evidence and they're not taking any further action. What can I do? No. And I remember saying to the lovely woman on the phone, but I know obviously you know it's your life, it's your feelings, and I was getting a bit irate. I'm like, so you're telling me that if I just walked down the street now and called some fucking guy a paedophile and ranked police on him, they're gonna come and arrest him and lock him up for 24 hours as long as they can hold him because they think he's a paedophile, and then just deal with I'll just get away scot free and just walk around. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that should be criminal to actually just.
You should be getting
just
locked
to make
up.
false allegations like that.
If I had a normal job, or not normal, if I worked for somebody else and I worked for a company,
You'd probably lose your job.
You'd
or they
lose
put
your
you
job.
suspended.
You get suspended, or if you worked in a school or whatever, you got to tell the school what's happened. That's your life. That's another part of your life. Not just the fact that you've lost your family and you've lost your house and you've lost everything, but then you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your income. And then after that, then then people wonder why so many dads are taking their own lives and taking things into their own hand, or they're doing something stupid. And, you know, where do you go from that?
Well, yeah, especially if these allegations are quite common. It's like you've lost your income, you've lost your family, all your stability, you've lost your kids. You throw on the allegations, you're struggling to cope. What else is there?
You know, I don't think anybody really knows how messed up and how hard all this is until you go through it yourself. You know, you hear stories and you see things online and you see stories, and, you know, if you've not been through it, you're like, oh, that's fucking bad, that. But then to have the allegations on, I think that was one of the biggest things for me, being accused of these, like I say, unspeakable things, when you know they're all bullshit and all your friends and family know, you know, they know you as a person, they know you as a character. And to not have a say in it and not be able to question things back, or the whole way through, as many times as I got bailed, not once was I allowed to provide any evidence against it. Nothing.
How does that work?
I don't know.
So you're accused of something, but you can't defend yourself?
No idea. I fucking, on my computer, on my hard drives, on my computer, I've got files and files and files of stuff that I'd saved, like receipts, because she said that I didn't let her go to family events, so I didn't let her go out, and I didn't let her. But then again, she were on hen do's abroad, and this, that, and other, while I were at home looking after his daughter. So I'd like saved all these things, like thinking, right, next time I'll go and get interviewed, next time I answer bail.
So what would it be like? You'd turn up and then you'd just be in court and they wouldn't ask you anything, or they'd ask you questions?
I didn't go to...
Although this was in police?
Yeah, so this
in
was
the
just
station?
just in police station. Obviously,
the court was to do with kids,
yeah.
So
So it weren't a
no,
criminal case. I had my family court case, and then I just got falsely accused of bullshit allegations, but I was just dealing with them in the police station.
So in the police station, they weren't interested in evidence?
No. Every time I tried saying something, or trying to, you know, shit deflect back onto them, like as if saying, no, have that this is what's happened, they just nothing. Nobody were interested. It were the most...
Why do you think they did that?
They're just not interested, are they? They don't give a toot. It's not there. I remember saying to one of the coppers, it's all right for you. I says, once you've done here, all you do is go home, have your fucking tea, go to bed, get up next day again. And I say, I have to live with this constantly, eating myself up inside about what she's accused me of and what implications that they, you know, if other people find out. And I was thinking this today, I think that's why a lot of people go down this route, because then it shuts us up. We can't have a say.
Yeah.
Because we're too embarrassed, we're too fucking ashamed to speak out about what's been said about us and what people are accusing us of, because it's fucking shameful. It's hard to talk about. And nobody wants to admit that you've been accused of these. Not even accused, you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to be even been accused of these things because they're that horrible. Never mind openly admitting that you've been accused of them, because a lot of people are just going to jump on some stupid fucking bandwagon and say, oh, he probably did it.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? It's like a cancel culture. Oh, we'll go to solicitors, we'll get him done for this, we'll get him done for that, we'll get him done for that. He'd be too fucking shit scared to tell anyone. Then you get in on molestation order. Oh, then we'll go to court, and then we'll fucking scream over there again.
Yeah.
Same shit, different day, different person. And it's like like you were saying, controlling and coercive behaviour and scaremongering. No, that's what you're doing to us. That's what the courts are doing to us, dads. That's what police are doing to us. It's not other way around. And I don't mean in every case, but I definitely mean in my case. That's how I feel. And that's, do you know what I mean? That's how I felt. That's how I felt the whole way through. It's like you've been silenced and put on.
How long was it from the initial accusation to you finally got contact?
Probably nearly a year.
So you had to live in that?
I think, yeah, it were a good like 8 months or something. Getting rebailed.
So after losing your family, dealing with the debt, then police, trying to balance work.
Yeah. And I did, I'm not even going to get into that. Yeah. It did I thought things were getting better, but they just ended up being worse. But that's a fucking completely different story. I'll probably do another podcast on that. But yeah. Just that whole time going, sorry, Chris, whole time going through like the police stuff and that. It makes you so angry inside.
Oh yeah, and if
there's nothing that you could like.
If you act angry,
then you're a bad man.
Oh, you're a violent person.
Oh, you're exactly what they've said in that report.
Yeah.
And me being me, and anyone that knows me, knows that I won't take any shit, or I won't be, you know what I mean? I won't. Not in a dickhead way, like I won't take any shit. But if someone's point blank talking shit to me, I'll say, "You're talking shit there, mate." And you can't even say that. You can't call anyone on anything because you're just branded as, like you said, he's speaking. Oh yeah, he's rude.
Yeah, he's talking loud. He's angry.
It's your family. It's your life. It's your livelihood. Everything that you've worked and built and grafted for all them years and whatever however long you've been together. It's all just, yeah.
So how did the day feel when you finally got that court order?
Oh, I remember this. So I were actually in Amsterdam at some awards ceremony stuff for SW work and things. And I was sat in the lobby, just waiting for some friends to come down out at hotel rooms because we were going to this event. And I remember it pinging up on my phone like a notification from court, like final order or whatever, your order thing that you're getting through. And I was sat on my own at the time, and I was like, oh, fuck that. Just put it back in my pocket because I thought, everything else up to now has been bad. Do you know what I mean? Everything that I've experienced to do with this whole family court system, police, everything has been a negative. Kafkas as well. Oh God, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be talking about them, but Jesus Christ. Yeah, I can't. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
but
bit of a crapshoot.
Yeah. I can't remember where I'm going now, Chris, because it's just...
Well, you were just mentioning about you being away at the award ceremony and then you received the notification.
So everything were negative. So I was a bit like, hesitant to read it. So I put it in my pocket. My friend come down, bless her, that I'd gone there with, and, she were like... She helped me through quite a lot, to be fair, like little text messages here and there and stuff, and, kept an eye on me and asked me how I were and everything else. And we'd sat down waiting for some other people to come down, and I'd mentioned it to her. I said, I've had a court thing like through, but I don't know if I should read it. And she's like, just go on, read it. So I read through it all, and when it said that I could actually have access to my daughter, because she had no proof of any, none of this happened, whatever she said. And the whole way through, going through court and the police and everything, I were a good dad. On all Kafkas reports, everything, I was a good dad. So I've no idea how the fucking hell they stopped me seeing my daughter. Like I should have been able to see her the whole way through. Do you know what I mean? Like in my eyes, like, yeah, she's got a problem with me, but it's not with my daughter. My daughter's not got a problem with me. but I didn't see her for all that time. And then when I got it through and they said that, yeah, well, I had to start off with...
contact centre?
No, because she wouldn't do contact centres. Still nothing. So she wouldn't go to contact centre, wouldn't do mediation things. I had to have video calls once a week.
Fuck.
But because you have to build up your relationship again, even though it had only been, I know a year's like, it were nearly a year. It weren't a year, but
see the thing with this that I don't get, what about dads that go abroad, working in the army, and he disappears for 9 months? Do they have to go into contact? No, they just come back into the life. It's fucking bullshit.
It's just to prolong everything, isn't it? It's just another. Well, that's how it feels. It just feels like you're just prolonging everything. Because I was saying to him, I'm like, well, hang on a minute. There's been no against me and my daughter. I could understand if they were, but there's not. It's only been, like, say, a year. I'm sure she still knows who I am. I worked 7 days a week. She still knows how bloody were then. I remember I fucking burst into tears of just joy and happiness and, there ain't no words to describe it.
It's a step towards finally having contact.
Yeah, it was just finally some fucking good. Something is happening. Because I used to remember saying to like Kafkas, I don't care what it is, I don't care how I'm in contact with her, as long as she sees my face and hears my voice and whatever else, I'm not interested, because then I know that I'm sort of still in her life. So yeah, that were absolutely amazing, but obviously then there were other issues, and you know what I mean, still keeps going, the shit train still keeps fucking plodding along. But yeah, it were incredible, absolutely amazing. And then obviously went out and had a really good night, evening, and I could enjoy myself, because I think if I'd have got that'd have just been my like trip over. Do you get what I mean? I'd have just been so down in dumps again.
I mean, did you eventually get, I'm guessing, in-person contact or?
Yeah. So I did. It was something like, I don't know, say 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Video calls.
Is that once a week?
Yeah. Up to. When we went to court, you were like, oh, how can we sort of do these video calls? She's only 5 or whatever, like, attention span and this, that, and other, and blah, 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 and whatever. So I thought it was like it had to be no shorter than 10 minutes in the orders on my video calls, and they literally lasted 10 minutes. There were so many like little things that I'm like, she just red button me all the time, and
really?
Or she'd look around and it don't take a rocket scientist to work out who's in the background when she's like
watching it.
Yeah, like looking at whoever. I don't know. I'm not gonna have my tinfoil down and speculate, but when you know, don't you? So it went to video calls, and then I had to get not mediation, but it were like contact supervisor visits sort of thing, supervised visits. But then when that came around, it were like, oh, we're not doing it. If it's not in Derby, we're not doing it. If it's not this, it's not that. I want it like this and I want it like that. So I had to, again, jump through all these fucking hoops and yeah, that's fine. But at that point, it were, you can do supervisors, but it's going to take like 6 weeks to get them all organised. And I was like, nah, fuck. Like, I'm proper impatient, and I'll just,
that
I
makes
could
no
see
sense.
it there in my face. Do you know what I mean? Like my daughter, and I've nearly got her back. I thought, I'm not waiting another 6 weeks. I can't do this. So I ended up working more hours, like doing more building work and doing all that I could to get some money. And I went private to. Do you know what? I can't actually remember what company they were called.
You have to pay a lot, don't you?
It's a lot of money, yeah. They're fucking amazing. they should be as well for the amount of money that they're getting. But they were so helpful. So helpful.
Were they in the location that was requested?
No, so they were in Sheffield.
How did that work out?
So, yeah. So, you probably heard this before, haven't you? No. So, I had to pay them for the time, for the visits. I also had to pay them the fuel to drive down to Derby and back. Then I had to pay for my fuel. Then I had to pay for wherever we were going. Then I had to pay for, obviously, something to eat there. It fucking cost me a fortune. But I did it because I wanted to see my daughter again. Like, they went over, you know. I'd have happily been a bottom to see my daughter again. I'd have sold my arse. I don't care. Do you know? Do you know? It's your kids, isn't it? People.
I get it.
Until you go through this, I'd have done anything. So I paid all that money. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anybody's name.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, but the company that I used were absolutely amazing, and the woman that facilitated the meetings and everything were just outstanding. So I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to that company and that woman that did it all, because I could see sort of like a light end of the tunnel, seeing my daughter again and going to see her in a play centre and that, and a soft play area and whatever I could, you know what I mean? I just got that feeling. It's like, you know, I'm getting to see her now. This is it. Like, it's happening. So it was just so, like, it was just amazing. And they were so good, and they facilitated everything. So yeah, it was just mad.
How many times did you end up doing it? It was like 4, 6 weeks?
It worked out in my favour in court, because she were trying to drag it out and trying to get all these fucking shitty little orders put in place in court by a solicitor that she got for free and whatever else. And do you get, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they were like, oh, well, you know, we'll want this first and then that first and that first. And my solicitor were like, well, no, because no's happened between him and his daughter. He's a good dad, apparently. So, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that really worked well in my favour. So I think I did about, I don't know, 6 sessions or something. But because I'd used a private company and I was spending that much money, it got sped up a bit, because judge were like, well, he's willing to pay for this, and he's willing to do it this quick, and he's willing to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
You're jumping through so many hoops at this point.
At this point, he were a bloke judge, and he was the only judge where, you know, you could see him, and do you know what I mean? He could tell you like a decent judge. Do you know what I mean? Like, he weren't just there like, right, fucking in and out, whatever. He sort of cared, and he could see that we're jumping through all these hoops, and he could see how we're doing this, and how we're paying over odds, and how we're fucking scrimping and scraping to get all this stuff done. So he was like, right, well, we'll not do it how she wants to do it, and we're not going to do it how he wants to do it. We'll do it like this. But it ended up working out in my favour, because the days that I got to see her were quicker, and they were less of. And then I could just have, I could not, you know, I could get done with contacted supervised visits, and I had her on my own then. But I think I just had her, what did I have after that? I think I had to have her at my mum's. So living at my mum's. So when I did have her at first, I had to have her at my mum's, and she made sure she put that in orders and stuff. That I weren't allowed her anywhere else apart from my mum's. I don't. The whole way through, and I can see it on your face. Controlling and coercive behaviour the whole way through it. It's like whatever they said that you've, you know, this controlling and coercive, you've done this, you've done that, you've been abusive. It's all done back to you.
All this just for you to be a dad after she walked away.
Yeah, like I said, circumstances were shit, but you know, I hold my hands up. We both held his hands up.
But there's nothing against the kids.
Nothing to do with my daughter. Nothing. Even Kafkas knew this. Kafkas didn't know what the fuck they were doing when they started asking me questions about our work and our life. They were like, on phone. And I literally had to fucking sit. I'm not surprised I didn't have to draw a diagram where things went to Kafka. They were absolutely terrible. Terrible.
But you eventually... So how... You're talking now... Probably just over 12 months, is it? From initially allegations to finally...
Yeah, to when I saw her.
Yeah, you actually got contact in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I mean, don't get me wrong, seems to you, to me as a person, a fucking lifetime. Like a long, long, long time. But then when I hear some other stories, like 3, 4 years, 6, because that were when obviously all this started, and I'm thinking, shit, and I'm gonna have to go to court here, and then that's when I started doing TikToks. When I started, I wanted to learn more about it and see what other people were going through and stuff. Which is probably not the greatest idea because everybody's situation is different, every case is different, and then you just start hearing all horror stories and that about how long it takes and stuff. But mine were pretty quick compared to some other cases.
It's pretty quick based on the allegations and to actually get contact back.
Yeah, but I think it's because the police, the courts, Kafkas, I think they all knew deep down because there were no evidence. It didn't happen. It happened in 2018. We got married in 2021. Do you know what I mean? It was just...
Yeah. So
you didn't have to be a fucking nugget not to fucking realise that's all crap.
Have you managed to step contact up from just being at your mum's since then?
Yeah, so now I just have every other weekend. I was meant to have her on a Wednesday night and then drop her off at school on a Thursday, but when the orders came out and things, I was trying to get back into doing a normal 9 to, because I just thought, what am I doing with my life? Where am I going? All these questions. And I just thought, right, I'll go and get a job. I'm stable. I'm living at my mum's. Fucking, what to say it again, Chris? Sorry, I'm proper bad. My head's gone.
I think it was to do with was it contact from the start? How long did it take to actually get contact back? No?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So it weren't at my mum's.
Oh yeah, to actually, did it progress from just being at your mum's?
Yeah, it did end up progressing. Yeah, but it was just a while sort of thing. And like I said, they were just orders after orders after orders, and I want this and I want that and whatever. But now we have a Wednesdays. That's what we're getting at. Sorry, Chris. So
sorry.
I was in the order. It said I could have her on a Wednesday night and drop her off from school. So I pick her up from school on a Wednesday, drop her off on a Thursday every other weekend, every other week or every alternate week. They didn't say what alternate week, and then I could have her every other weekend. So I can't have her every weekend because her mum wanted to do stuff with her on one weekend, which is fair enough. But then obviously because we're trying to get a normal job, I'm like, this when, like, not that I wanted to sort of give it up, but to pick my daughter up on a Wednesday from Derbyshire, drive back up to Sheffield, have an hour with her.
Yeah.
Realistically, with traffic and stuff, takes a good hour and a bit. Have an hour with her, put her to bed, get her up an hour and a bit earlier, drive her all the way back down to Derbyshire, drop her off at school. We'd spoke about, like, I did end up, obviously by this point, we were on the parenting app. Still nothing's ever been spoke about with us or anything. Obviously, it's just to do with my daughter. And I just said, look, there's no job that's going to let me leave early on a Wednesday, go in late on a Thursday. They're not going to let me leave on a Friday to pick her up. Do you know, it was just... I was stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Normally, I think with the distance, I've seen it happen where you could end up with every weekend because of the distance.
I tried for this, and obviously she won't let it happen. But obviously, I don't know if you can tell, I still feel guilty now because I've given up a bit of time with my daughter, but pulling her out of school, do you know what I mean? Like pulling her.
You also have to do something that works, because if it doesn't work for a job and you can't keep a job down,
how are you going to live and how are you going to support your daughter then? And do you know, all these like things, and obviously I got slated for that and put down for that, but when that other person is trying to make it as hard as they can make it for you, so they want you to fail. They want
that's
you
like
to fuck
then
up.
it's like you could have them on, say, a Wednesday, and then you could have them on, or if you did something like you could have them on a Tuesday and a Thursday. It's like, yeah, you get more time, but it's virtually impossible. And you're just driving all the time.
And then all you're getting then, because my daughter does it now, when I have to get her up on a Monday morning for school, when I've got her on a weekend, oh, I'm tired, Daddy, I don't want to go to school, I'm getting up to her, and to do that to her, because I think my ex-partner was saying, oh, well, we'll just do it every week that Wednesday. That
doesn't help.
No, yeah, I was just like, it's not going to work. It just does not. I can't do that. And if I'm not working, I haven't got the money for fuel to be doing that all the time anyway. And it's just not fair on my daughter. I was just like, it's not fair on her. And I know what she's like as well, because when she's tired, she's a nightmare, and she ain't going to go to school and learn. She's going to be tired all day, and that's just what kids, that's what kids are like, aren't they? But yeah, yeah.
So you've managed. I mean, you mentioned about you using the parenting apps, and you've at least started communicating.
Yeah.
Like regarding the kid. So, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's just literally like one word. I mean, obviously now I'm sort of, over it all, and all that's, well behind me with myself and my ex-wife and stuff. That's all done. So it don't matter anymore. Do you know what I mean? But there's still stuff that I'd like to sort out, like the house. Not for me. I don't care whether she lived in it forever, but it's just something to give to my daughter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's my daughter's future that I'm thinking about. It's not.
Have you got divorced?
Yeah, like other week it were.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a great big celebration. No, I'm joking.
So you've been divorced, but the house is still there. I mean, was that done in a financial order?
No, we hadn't done financial orders yet.
Okay.
Which, when I did get the divorce, because I didn't see anybody. I didn't go to, I don't even think I signed anything.
The government.
You just went straight through with divorce.
I think if you don't agree, it just takes longer and it just goes ahead.
Yeah. And then next thing I knew, like a few weeks ago, I'm like, oh, I'm divorced. That's it, done.
Yes, it seems like, you divorced just without the financials.
But we had financial orders, yeah. So when I spoke to my solicitor, he because that's the bit that's going to cost, well, if...
It doesn't have to, but you have to agree.
Well, yeah, and if you don't agree, which... I mean, I don't know if anybody out there has just gone through it smoothly. I doubt it.
I sort of did.
Yeah.
It cost about 600.
Oh, that's, well...
Not including
better than family court, like nearly 12 grand.
I mean, this is just the financials.
No, but I'm saying, like, when you think, oh, I've just spent 12 grand trying to fight for my daughter, and now I've got a 600 quids.
That's if you do the amicable route.
Well, yeah. Which I don't.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening with me, because there's still a house to discuss, which we had on a rent to buy thing. I don't know if you remember me saying. So there's.
Yes.
I've tried ringing like the person that owns the house, just ignoring me. I don't know if they've had talks, and they're trying to. I don't know what. It's a bit. We don't want to try and think about it too much of people scheming and things, but you sort of know. I know that I did have contact with the landlord, and then I am now for some reason, for some strange reason. But I'd like to get house sorted out. I'd like to, I'd like to sort it out for my daughter and my daughter's future, and make sure that she's got something when she grows up. But it just feels like if it's all, if it's left to my ex-wife to deal with, it's just going to get buried in sand with her head.
Yeah.
With the rest of the stuff.
So your relationship now with your little one, is it good?
Amazing, yeah. Yeah, it's really good, yeah. Obviously there's things that, she says to me, and like when I first, even now she says it, like I'm a liar. She calls me a liar.
Wait, your daughter says this?
Yeah. You're a liar, Daddy. You always lie. I'm like, Baba, I don't lie, and that's why I'm in this position now. Like, that's, I don't lie. I don't bullshit. I don't chat shit. I say things very black and white, and how they are.
Yeah.
But obviously them 8 months to a year or whatever they were, there's been things said, I remember once, I think I can say this because... So, when I left my house, I had security cameras outside. I was still on them security cameras when I left. Nah, I heard things when windows were open and things, that people being on phone and whatever, saying things.
Okay.
But that tried getting used against me as well for stalking and invasion of privacy and whatever else. Even though they're my cameras, it's on my house. And I've been on them since day one, and do you know what I mean? I were always on them. So I heard things like, oh, when my daughter comes back, we need to do damage limitation because, she's been up there with them. And, it may...
That's worrying.
There's tons and tons and tons of stuff that I could, say about certain people that have said certain things. Do you know what I mean? And you're just like, what the... You've got to screw your sandwich short or a picnic.
Just let the kid be a kid.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't fucking try and...
manipulate and twist things and...
Just let him be.
Like, with my daughter, I'm always like, even now, I don't ask, but I'm like, is Mummy all right? Are you all right? Is Grandad all right? I don't want my daughter to feel like there's anything bad happened or... Yeah, I don't. She's 6. She's a little girl. At the end of the day, I want her just to. The only thing that she should be worrying about is when she's getting fed and what she's doing playing wise. Do you know what I mean? Or she shouldn't have to be worried about anything else. That's not how it is it? It's like. So I just not pretend. Well, everything is normal. But do you get? I mean, I try and make things as like normal and as. Like, nothing's changed, but me and my dad have just split up. Do you know what I mean?
You got to try and be the rock, I guess.
Yeah, well, the bigger person, isn't it, in a way? But, yeah, there's loads of little things that get said, and it fucking hurts, like, really bad. Especially when your daughter says it to you. And you're thinking, God, Baba, that's... I wish I could... I wish you could understand and things, but... Yeah.
I mean, I think we've pretty much come towards the end, so I was going to normally ask a few questions just to kind of wrap it all up.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on to the final one.
God, I can't believe all that you've just asked me. It's a very quick ending now.
You can tell us about more SW if you want.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, questions and answers. Go
on, let's finish this first. I mean, one is, did you see any red flags?
No, oh God, no. But so basically, like everybody that mine and my ex-wife's mutual friends, or some of them, quite a few of them, and my parents and my sister and like a few people were basically like describe her as like Mary Poppins on the out, to everybody else because she's really, 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 really nice. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But there's obviously some, to do that to somebody, or to lie all them years, or to pretend all them years, I have no idea what, because don't forget, I've had no closure or anything. God, what was the question again, Chris? Sorry, mate, I keep doing this because
no. Did you see any like red flags?
Yeah, so because that's what. So the Mary Poppins thing, like, I didn't see any of that, and a lot of people didn't. But then they were like really, really, really subtle things that people said that's like it's not right. Like, she's all nicey, but then that one little thing that they've just witnessed there, that is like odd. It's like off. But no, like there were none for me, none. Like, I just thought we were going to be together forever, you know, and that were it. And then just switch. It was just like a fucking flick, you know, a switch had just been flicked, and then it was this completely different, shut off, you know, manipulating, scheming sort of, you know, yeah. So no, there were no red flags, to be fair.
It did seem to happen pretty abrupt, and the way you mentioned it. Did you learn anything?
Yeah, keep my mouth shut. No, I'm joking. no, I just, I just won't. Probably, I just won't put myself in that position again. In that position that I did before, and probably, like, you know, let my feelings be, you know what I mean? I just wouldn't put myself in that position anymore. I'm still doing SW work. I'll still do what I'm doing, but there'll just be this, you know, this barrier there. I'll keep everybody at sort of like arm's length, and I still, you know, hopefully like want to get close to people, like make friends with people that I work with and stuff. But yeah, there won't be any, you know.
I think these have both died now, so I don't know how good the audio is, but what advice would you give to any other father going through separation?
On which bit?
Well, what from the point of separated, I'd say. Is there anything?
I think I did the court thing and everything else pretty, I won't say good, but I did it pretty quick. Like, I knew what I want, you know what I mean? I thought, right, I'm going to go down this road, I'm going to work my arse, I'm going to get all this money, I'm going to do this, do that. And thankfully, it worked out. So my advice would be definitely to just don't rise to anything. Do you know what I mean? There were time and time again, because I won't lie, I'll hold my hands up. I can be quite a hothead. And that, I think that's what did it for me, is just biting my tongue and shutting up. And just, you know, it definitely has made me a better person today. Like a calmer person, a lot more, you know, I'll just sit back and take all that shit. And I'll get you when I want to get you back, sort of thing. But yeah, just keep you cool. Don't give them what they want. And I don't know about solicitors. Like, the solicitors that I used, one of them, the very, very, very first court case, were amazing. Fucking hell, like something off of Suits. He knew everything. He just wham, you know, sorted everything out. Speaking to their, he basically told their solicitor what to do, and he were quality. Then the next one I got, he was just like a show pony that they got in for me. And then the rest of them were fucking terrible. Honest to God, amount of, you know, heated exchange words at me, and my mum's solicitors as well, because we were just like, are you lot stupid? So in the solicitor's terms of things, I thought it was good to have a solicitor, because me being me, I would not have a clue. So if you're like me, I'd probably say go and get a solicitor. But that's if you've got the money and if you want to go down that route. if you don't, I'd probably just do a shit ton of research and reach out to, people that you know, or connections, or, just get in touch with people and ask around and stuff. Because, like I said before, every single case is different and they're all dealt with differently, I'm going to guess. So, do you know what I mean? They're not a carbon copy of each other. So,
yes, you definitely don't need one. And a lot of people advocate against.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So it just depends. If you want to work at it more and go and get some help and advice, or if you were a bit like me and didn't know where to turn or didn't know where to go, and just go straight to a solicitor. But
I think it could make the case longer if you do. I've heard if you do self-represent, but
yeah, because like I say, I can only talk from my experience, and my experience were, I think now looking back, that was the right thing to do for me, because I got in, I got my solicitor. I did all my court cases things. I did everything that they said to do, and I got to see my daughter. But obviously, if things are different, then I'm not quite sure. But I definitely just, it's so hard to do, because it's your kids and it's your life, and they are your life, is keeping your trap shut.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a load of stories where guys say things in court, and for a fact they're just gonna,
they'll use it all against you.
Yeah, yeah. And the words that they use in court and the shit that they talk, it's like from Shakespeare times. Just speak normal.
Yeah.
You can't understand. That's why I would never have had a clue in court, because I was sat there and I'm like, what are you even talking about?
I know. It's and I think certain words that you think might have a meaning probably have a slightly different meaning because it's in a legal setting.
That's what I mean. It'd be easy to trip yourself up, or to get yourself lost in your own words and stuff, and then you know what I mean. Then you just look a bit of a tit, and you're not going anywhere, are you? But yeah, just don't give up. I remember being sat at that table with all this mountains of paperwork and debts going through doors, and I've signed for this, that, and another one. I've not signed for them, and there were plenty of times where I could have done something stupid, or do you know what I mean? Just keep going, because there's a lot of friends of mine and a lot of friends of everybody else where kids don't see the parents, and then when they get older, they go and find them again. Do you know what I mean? It is shit.
Yeah,
it's shit no matter no matter what it is, but just keep going, because they're your kids at the end of the day, and they're your future.
True. Does your experience make you hesitant about relationships in the future?
Yeah. The person that I'm with now, tell you that. I had, obviously, like I said earlier, I know I had trust issues before, or otherwise I wouldn't have been playing away from home. I wouldn't have been insecure. I was probably insecure, do you know what I mean, in myself, and I didn't want to trust other people and what have you. And then when that happened, and how it happened, and what I got accused of, yeah, you just don't trust people the same. I remember saying it to them, that loads of people, I'll never trust anybody, especially, without being rude to any women, I'll never trust a woman ever again, like, that's it, whatever. But obviously when you heal and you get over things, and, you do trust again, you do rely on people again, but to be with somebody and that you love for that long, and then for them to betray you, especially with the allegations, and as many allegations as what I got, yeah. I'm quite a good judge of character anyway, and I think that's what did me over with my ex-wife, because I'm a really good judge of character. When I meet someone, do you know what I mean? You just get a vibe for people. I never got that with her, and like now, I'm always like, I'll second, triple, quadruple, like check that person out.
Yeah.
To make, you know what I mean? I'll not just rely on my instinct. I'll be like, well, I'll go back to that. Are they good or are they bad? You know, I don't know. It just really messes you up. It really, really does.
I found I got super sort of picky, and if there was any little issue, it's like, yeah, forget you.
Yeah, like so everything has to be like
spot on. Yeah, sort of thing. If there
perfect was, in a way to you, don't you? Because you think anything less than that.
It was just if something wasn't quite right, you're like looking for.
You're almost looking for them red flags, aren't
you?
Yeah,
I actually found that quite a few times. Yeah. Yeah.
And you probably look for things that aren't even there, but you just. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's you look for them, almost say, yeah, I'm not interested, and then because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier to say, see you later.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't want to get hurt again either, do you? You don't want to get down that line.
Yeah.
And then think, oh, right, I've just been fucking done over twice now, and I said I weren't going to do that again.
Yeah, I definitely, I found that. But
like I say, it just, I'm not a woman, so I don't know what women are like, but for a man to be, I don't know, it weighs heavy on you. I suppose it's just for anybody, but I'm like, for me, it really, really, really weighed heavy on me that somebody, you know, after I've been so truthful and was shitting my pants and all these other things, for then that person to do that to me, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. Like, never, ever, ever would I want anyone to go through or feel how I felt.
I always wonder. Now, some of these instances, sure, probably true. Can't be all of them false. But what goes through the head to say, I'm just going to start coming up with these false things? I mean, is it that they're told to do it? Or did they all just wake up and decide the same thing together?
I think it's just a script in it that solicitors do and stuff, because
it seems to be a lot of instances.
It's like a roadmap, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you do this, then you do that, then you do that. You stop him from seeing his kid, you get him out of your life, and it's going to take him ages to get him back. And then that gives you time then to set your son up, go and do whatever with whoever, make yourself good again. Mm-hmm. He's still fucking feeling like shit all the way through this, and your quid's in, so you're all right.
Yep. You've always got him under your thumb.
And you're always controlling and manipulating the situation while you're doing it as well.
And you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
But
in a nutshell, it pretty much is. And I could sit here and laugh about it now, but fucking hell, if it did, like I said, I think this is why it's took so long, and I've not gone through everything doing this, but it's, you know, I've not sat, like I said, I've not sat down and really gone back to it and thought about it all, because it's too painful, it's too hurtful, and that's not the worst bit about it. It's not. Yeah, it's affected me, but I'm gonna get over it. But it's my daughter that, like with the lying thing and these little bits that are, you know, I know that's going to affect her now.
Yeah, that's changed the way she thinks
and feels, and
her
outlook on things and stuff.
View on you and the rest of it. You don't know. Things affect.
I just know it'll have. If it's affected me. Oh, sorry, but I'm an adult. I'm gonna, you know what I mean. I'm gonna get over it and sort myself out. It's different for that little girl.
Yeah, grow up, have kids, the rest of it.
Yeah.
And was there anything else that you wanted to touch on, or you wanted to mention, or you?
God, no, there is, yeah. I mean, I could be sat here all night going on about little bits and bobs and other things that are said or happened or whatever, but that's like the main bulk of it all. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take it on to the last question, which is, can you come up with 2 words to summarise the whole podcast, and that'll be the name of your episode?
What will that? Come up with 2 words? What?
Yeah, 2 words to summarise this episode, and that'll be the name of the podcast. If you're struggling, you can always drop me a text later. Some people manage to come up with 2 words, and
Jesus, 2 words. You're limiting it there, aren't you?
The idea is it's short, snappy, and I know at some point we'll start running out of words, but
fuck, I can't even.
Just drop me a text.
This, it's not 2 words, but this what you're doing, Chris, really, like, I don't know, for me it gives hope, not just to me, but every other dad. Like the chat, you know, it like gives them a chance to speak out and to get it all off the chest, because I know what I went through going through the police, not just the police for God knows how long, but the family court, and to never have a say, never open your trap and say anything, not a thing. So to come on here and talk about it, and for you to give me and everybody else a chance to do that, it's just lovely. Do you know what I mean? It's hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, fucking hell, I nearly had that tissue in my hand. But it's just nice, mate. And I really do want to say thank you for having me on, and thanks for inviting me to your home and to your house. And, you know, it's just a pleasure meeting you, because I see all your videos. I see that great ginger beard you got. And it's nice to meet you in person. But, yeah, it's it takes you back, and it...
Cheers.
Yeah, it brings all them feelings back, and it's like, yeah.
No, I appreciate it.
But yeah, it has been. I don't know how many words that were, but sorry. I'll text you in a bit.
A few more than 2. But I'll. That's pretty. Yeah, nice one. Cheers for coming.
Cheers for coming.
Yeah. I'll.